We are in the first month of the calendar new year and a great time to think about the year ahead. Whether you set goals or not for the year, that is of course your choice. Personally, I do set objectives for myself, and that's a bit different than the traditional goals. In the spiritual world, the difference between goals and objectives is subtle, but it's extremely critical. Goals are focused on the result, and you get attached to the outcome. And as students of the Gita, we know that outcomes are not even in our control. Whereas objectives are choices and actions you take, and strive for excellence in those actions by giving out your best, and at each step make an incremental improvement. The objectives of life are not a comparison or a competition with anyone else. They are yours alone, and you compete with yourself. For sure, get inspired by others' achievements and even take a leaf out of their life to see the learnings you can apply in your life. But at the end, it's your journey, yours alone, and nobody to impress. Hence, being a student of Gita, I'm a big believer of objectives. Now, whether you look at life in terms of objectives or not, one thing I would like to encourage is for you to think about having a healthy and happy life. After all, who does not want to be healthy and happy? Why would you not want to enjoy everything that this beautiful universe has to offer? The Gita offers an amazing prescription to lead a healthy and happy life. Krishna is the greatest psychiatrist and is amazing at prescribing a path forward through spiritual and physical medicines. Once you start adopting the prescription of Krishna, you will realize that it becomes your default habit, or as they say, the way of life. In the Gita, we have 4 medicines prescribed to us. 2 of them are spiritual in nature, which means it is for the mind, and 2 are for this body. You may ask, why the focus on the body when the Gita is supposed to be all about the mind? The answer is simple, my friends. Without an efficient and working body, it is very, very difficult to experience spirituality and be at peace. The body needs to cooperate and it should go along. The first medicine I'm going to share is the most important. Even if you don't follow anything else in this video, this first medicine alone will lead you to an amazing health and happiness. And that is about getting rid of hatred. This first medicine of getting rid of hatred is a medicine for the mind. When I say getting rid of hatred, it simply means this. Think of the other person or even an object for what and who they are. Feel free to have a different opinion about their behavior or attitude, but don't have hatred, jealousy, or anger for them. You can absolutely call out their undesirable behavior or attitude, but in your own heart and mind, don't keep a hatred feeling. Because at the end of the day, hatred is a poison pill you're taking and it impacts you. While the other person or even an object may be a trigger for you to reach out and grab that poison pill, but by you taking it, you're making your life miserable. That miserable mindset leads to a degrading health and of course unhappiness. One who is not envious but is a kind friend, free from false ego, who is tolerant, always engaged in devotional service with determination, is also closer to divinity. As Krishna says in chapter 5, verse 6, we need to elevate ourselves through the power of the mind and not degrade, as the mind can be your friend and your enemy. Better put, it can be a friend or your enemy. For each one of us, there are 3 doors that lead us to hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sensible person with some common sense should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the body and the soul. Particularly when it comes to hatred, anger and greed transform into hatred rapidly. This first medicine given by Krishna is the most critical and gets you at least 50% of the way towards health and happiness. The remainder 3 remedies get you with the other 50%. Because 2 are for the body and 2 are for the mind, if you remember. So the first one was for the mind. Now the second medicine Krishna gives is for the body. It is about food, exercise, and discipline. Krishna in the Gita says there is no possibility of an individual becoming a spiritually inclined person if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or does not sleep enough. One must be conscious in the habits of eating, sleeping, working, and recreation. And by being conscious, you can mitigate all the material pains of this life. In chapter 17, Krishna says that foods that increase life's purity, one's existence, give strength and are dear to those in the mode of goodness. And we want to be in the mode of goodness. In contrast, foods that are too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, or stored for a long while are preferred by only those in the mode of passion, which we should avoid. Because such foods cause distress, misery, and disease. It goes without saying that the increased intake of such salty and excessive sweety foods and stored foods are the major causes of health challenges today, even cancer. A body, along with the food, has to continuously be in a mode of exercise. It means the body has to be in a mode of physical movement and action. In Sanskrit, there are 3 terms. Actually, I would rather say 4 terms: Upavishati, Uttishtati, Tishtati, and Chalati. Our physical body has to go through the sequence of these 4 terms, which is sitting, getting up, standing, and moving continuously. And this cycle, flipping through these 4, has to continuously happen in a waking state. As they say, don't become a couch potato, meaning just don't be continuously sitting like a stone, but instead go through the cycle of these 4 steps. Let's come to the third medicine. The third medicine as well is for the body. So the first one was for the mind, the second one was for the body, the third is also for the body. And that is to make sure you're living in this contemporary world, acting with common sense and rationality about your health. And that means not getting carried away by any type of rhetoric or emotional statements about medicine and science, but instead having a very simple objective of getting a thorough health checkup done each and every year. And by that, I mean a complete head checkup, head to toe. You need to understand and know what the status is when it comes to this body of yours or the car of yours. Without a well-maintained body, unfortunately, you will not have a vehicle to execute the actions and choices to live a peaceful life, including the step number 1 that I described of getting rid of hatred. How you correct the problems observed in the checkup of head to toe is up to you. And there are so many options based on methods of science, alternative medicines, or just the way of living. But that is the secondary step. The first step is to get a baseline on where you stand. What is your current health situation? Krishna in the Gita stresses the need for self-discipline as part of the mode of goodness. And for goodness to deliver its desired results, the body must be healthy. The fourth and final medicine Krishna gives is about getting on the path of spiritual learning. As you could imagine, this is the medicine for the mind. I've done a whole series on spiritual journey and spiritual learning as part of Panchakala Kriya, or the 5-step ritual for each person to follow during a day. And a key section of that is spiritual learning. What does it mean? At a very simplistic level, and of course you can watch the Panchakala Kriya videos for more detailed explanation, but at a simplistic level, dedicate some time each day towards reading about the Gita, listening or watching to the messages of the Gita and the Upanishad, and importantly put them into practice. I have seen too many who master the Gita verses but rarely put them into practice, or who listen and watch ritual practices and actually put them into practice as rituals alone without thinking about the spiritual aspect of it. Now, I'm not minimizing or diminishing this, because they may be helpful tools for you to develop a discipline and can be a good first step, but don't mistake them to substitute for spiritual learning. If you check out the video on how to completely get rid of karma, you will get a taste of spiritual learning based on Gita that you can put into practice. Without spiritual learning, one cannot have a thinking mind, but instead will be dragged by emotions. And without a thinking and rational mind, there is absolutely no possibility for peace. It's only when you get your front part of the brain to be working, that's when you will start seeing peace without being in emotions. The back part of the brain is an emotional part. You want that to work less and less. And without peace, how can there be happiness? There you have the 4 steps for a healthy and happy life. Number 1, again in summary, get rid of hatred. It's a medicine for the mind. Focus on food, austerity and discipline with a common sense approach. Now, that's number 2, which is for the body. Then with a common sense approach, get a complete head to toe health check done and fix the issue using modern science or any alternative methods. That is the medicine number 3 for the body. And lastly, medicine number 4 is for the mind, which is dedicating 30 minutes for understanding and implementing the learnings of the Gita. Get started with this new year on a positive and productive note. It's an amazing opportunity to reset and get going. Stay healthy and stay blessed. I will talk to you soon.